Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome, seriously, to my newest segment of Markets, a Look Ahead. A lot of stuff to talk about and some interesting things as well. Let's talk about that. So, how many of you are aware that, believe it or not, there's still a trade war going on? However, if you were to pay attention to any of the mainstream media channels right now, you won't hear about that. All you're going to hear about is the issue with the wall. Is it going to get built? The government shutdown? What President Trump is saying every other minute? That should tell you something. The whole psyche right now of the American people, we're being told to look here, don't look here. And this is really huge. Understand, it's always a distraction. That's really what this wall comes down to, and all the issues, as a matter of fact, surrounding it. It's a very effective ploy right now, but the trade war is bigger. I mean, by exponents than this wall issue here. Let's put more light on that. So let's see how this has played out. For about 6 weeks ago, we heard, maybe it's actually longer than that. Let's just use 6 weeks for a figure here. We had an initial, we heard that there was a phone call that occurred in the middle of the night. This was published everywhere, between the President of the United States and President Xi. They made real progress on trade talks and everything was going well. That was 6 weeks ago. Well, let's see. 2 weeks ago, mirror image, there was another phone call between the President of the United States, President Xi. Real progress was being made. But doesn't seem like that. As a matter of fact, this week this was the week where we were supposed to get some kind of something with regard to this China trade war. What we did get was a public statement released by China saying, you know what? Both sides have agreed to keep close contact. And here in the United States, again, it's the propaganda that things are going well. Things are really not going well. And just to push that point home, let's think about this. For almost a year now, China has not been buying U.S. debt. Yeah, you heard that right. So who's taking up the slack? I'll give you one guess. One guess, because it has to be bought by someone. Well, it's obviously the Federal Reserve. Regardless of the fact that they're trying to explain to you that their balance sheet is shrinking, it's a lie. They can put any numbers on any screen that they want to. Their balance sheet is not shrinking. As a matter of fact, Powell just last week said, hey, you know what? Balance sheet's flexible. I have zero doubt, and I am more than certain you feel the same way, that world central banks are managing to buy each other's debt, keeping it off of balance sheet. Because you have to understand, China, unless you live under a rock or have no idea of what's going on here, has been the largest buyer of U.S. debt since almost forever now. All of a sudden, they stop buying U.S. debt, and there's no pandemonium occurring in the bond market over it. You know who's buying the debt. It's just so in our face here. Everything is so in our face. So look, China's not buying our debt now for almost a year. Russia dumping dollars now for I don't know how long. They just dumped a huge amount of dollars last week and bought an insane amount. I think they bought a quarter of the world's reserves with regard to the Chinese yuan. So you have to understand, this is a distraction. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. Don't think about what's going on here with regard to China, Russia, the trade war that, I don't know, maybe we're going to get another mysterious phone call, maybe even tonight. And they're going to float this story out tomorrow in an attempt to prop up the market. But let me say this. The market's starting to wise up to what's happening, and that's where I'm going to lead to next here with our look ahead. So look, here's the situation. Stocks remain in a 3-month downtrend. Okay, that's where we are. The price action of the stock market is hitting the top end of the trading channel. Stocks have been doing this in this channel, down, up and down for 3 months. With that in mind, understand, we have heard profit warning after profit warning after profit warning from companies, forward guidance warnings from some of the biggest companies in the world, for example, Apple. Now, we are entering earnings season here. How do you think that's going to play out? Now, look, sometimes, in fact, most of the times, things are not what they seem. I mean, going back to look at the wall, look at what the wall going on here at the wall. Don't look at what's going on with trade. Don't look at what's going on with China or Russia. No. Ignore that. Look at the stinking wall. That's really what they're doing to us. It's laughable. And it's also, it's so easy to distract people. Those that are attempting to do that, and it's all the politicians now playing in on this from the top down. And you have to understand, this is how they operate. Look here, don't look here. They just string the public along like sheep. But you are not a sheep. I am a freaking roaring lion. That's the truth. So, with that said, being that things are not what they seem, we do have to consider the fact that even though we are stuck right now in this 3-month downtrend with regard to the stock market, we topped out in October. We're still several thousand points off the high, despite every imaginable effort and things that you can't even dream about to try to prop up this market. We are still, I think we're 3,000 points off the high as of right now. So here's my take on it. We're going to find out this week, if we are going to break out above the 3-month downtrend and go to the upside by some mechanism to keep this propped up. I don't know. Maybe the president will again send his Treasury Secretary out to 6 of the Wall Street biggest banks. You know, this really did happen. I'm not making this up. And then issue a buy recommendation. I mean, that, I can't remember in my lifetime, and maybe you can. I'm kind of an old guy. I'm sure I'm a lot older than most of you here. I don't remember a president publicly doing something like this. I can't recall it, honestly. Usually these kinds of things are done behind closed doors. And this undoubtedly was done under the Obama administration. I mean, like you can't believe. But to publicly do it, I've never heard of it. Maybe you have. If you have, I'd love to hear your take on that. But it's pretty extraordinary. Even if it has happened before, it's pretty extraordinary. So what I think has the potential to happen this week is more stories floated out, maybe phone calls in the middle of the night about trade. Again, this would be the 3rd time. I'm not writing anything off. It's distinctly possible that may be floated out here. Positive stories with regard to China trade, which are going nowhere, zero. And again, just look at the action that's going on behind the scenes. Ignore the distractions. What is China not doing? They're not buying our debt. However, they have promised to buy our agriculture, from what I understand, although there's nothing in writing yet. Meanwhile, it's their farms here in the United States that are producing these things that they're promising to buy. Great. This is we're really winning the trade war. I know you know that. And with regard to Russia, there is a direct, I don't even want to say collusion. It's not collusion anymore. I mean, they are absolutely, they're doing what they have to do right now, it seems, to bring China up above the United States here with regard to world trade. China, there's no doubt about it, wants the world reserve currency, would love to see the United States fail, and I think that's why they're dragging out these talks with regard to the trade issues. Oh, look at the American people! Look at those imbeciles! They're all staring at that freaking wall. Let's do what we got to do now while they're being distracted. That's exactly what's going on right now. But you see, the media thinks that you're stupid. I know you're not stupid. I know for a fact that you, all of you, that follow my work are the smartest and most well-informed people out here, period. And although I did go off the deep end in my video that I did on Friday, I actually watched it myself. What I did multiple times. I was rolling on the floor. I am quite the character from time to time. I must admit that. Anyway, so look, what's the takeaway here? A few things. Do not continue to be distracted with wall issues. They're being flashed at you, thrown at you, pushed right in your face, so you do not look at what the bigger picture is. You're not looking at the issues with regard to China trade, for which we are on the losing end, unfortunately. If we were on the winning end of this trade war right now, believe me, you would know about it through Twitter storms, through everything possible, be all over the media. Who knows? Our president might even do another, primetime address. So don't be distracted by the wall. It is an issue. Things need to be worked out there, but there are much, much, much larger issues going on here. Those are the ones you need to be focusing on. Let's start to redirect. If you have even been slightly distracted by the wall, move away from it. All right? Start to focus on what's happening between China, Russia, the United States with regard to this trade issue, because that's going to be the biggest thing to weighing on these markets and our economy. And that will directly affect you. Okay? That's the truth. Not that the wall won't affect you or whatever's going on over there. They're going to work that out, but they are milking this, and I mean milking it, so they can keep the people focused. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. It's the wall. I told you I'm a character. You don't want to believe it. I love you. I mean this with my entire fiber of my being. We are on the same team. Not only are we on the same team, we are a family. Okay, that's the truth. Every one of you, you're a family member to me, and I would hope you would feel the same way. Anyway, again, tomorrow, awesome. Let's watch all this play out, the charade, the distractions, the sick, twisted market, possible breakout here above that channel, or breakdown in the stock market. This is going to be good. I can't wait. See ya.